I remember those days as if it was yesterday, when we could do as we please and say, come what may, when we struggled to find what we are and what we're not, and all these tangled vines seem to tie it up in a knot. A time for soul searching in the depths of our hearts, and when the time came for us to depart, I'm glad I was able to say I'm proud of yesterday because it made me into the person I am today. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. I'm Dr. ANIS Nadia. I'm a dentist by profession and I'm a writer and a volunteer by passion. Standing here on this stage today reminds me of the good old days when I was a university student. My 6 years of degree was one of the formative times of my life. A time for heartache and heartbreak, lessons learned the hard way. And if I could choose two things that I value most from all those years, is discovering my passion for volunteer work and also my love for writing, particularly in poetry and literature. It all began 7 years ago, 8,000 miles away from here in the beautiful city of Alexandria, Egypt. This is where I spent the first 3 years of my life as a student. At this time, I was going through a very rough period in my life because this was the moment when I lost my dearest grandfather who took care of me since I could remember. For anyone who's ever experienced the loss of a loved one would know how it feels. My days were as dark as the night, and there was a void in my heart that could not be filled by whatever way I tried. But then, one day, everything changed. This is the first day that I volunteered. This is an event held annually at the local children's hospital in Shadbi. And on that day, I volunteered to take photographs. And as I was taking their photographs and looking at these sick children and playing with them, giving them gifts, and just seeing the smiles on their faces and the light that lights up their eyes, something changed in me that I had not felt in a very long time since the loss of my grandfather. I feel a sense of enlightenment, a fulfillment, which I now understand is the gift of giving, where we receive more than what we give. So since that day, I've been an active volunteer with our organization, and one of the best things about being a volunteer is meeting same-minded and light-hearted people who share the same passion in the things we do. And through our projects, I've come to realize that if you really want to understand someone or something or a community as a whole, you need to spend time in them, be among them. So through our projects, we're able to communicate with the disabled, with refugees, with the local people, and also those who are in orphanages and the elderly. And this has given me a bigger understanding, a deeper understanding that life is bigger than what we think it is. For me, I personally love working with children, and when I see how pure and innocent they are, it reminds me of my own childhood, because my childhood was one of the best moments of my life. When we see their smiles, their innocent smiles, we could think they don't have a worry in the world. But that's not the case for each and every child, because behind their bright smiles, there can be children just like this, at this age, walking the streets of Alexandria, selling toys just to get a pound or two. And when they grow up to be teenagers, they'll be wiping car windows just to get a pound or two because of the political turmoil there, because of the lower socioeconomic status. Poverty is everywhere. There will be beggars everywhere, and this is what we hope to be able to help through education, through elevating their poverty, through welfare, and that is what we hope to do as a person and as an organization. One more thing about working with children is as you build a rapport with them, as you spend time with them over the years, you can see them growing up, and I think that is such a beautiful thing. This is Yusuf. He is an orphan at Dar and El Alfaf Orphanage, and that was me back in 2012. And that is still the same child with my senior, and that is in 2016. And one of the things about volunteer work is that you can see them growing up. When strangers become friends and friends become family. And as a healthcare professional, I learned that education is very important. The simple act of teaching a child how to brush his teeth might seem like a tedious thing, but at the end of the day, that child someday is going to leave this child to home. So when we empower them to remember, because children are like sponges, they will take in whatever positive or negative thing that we teach them. So when we enable them to get the education that we need, they will be able to take care of themselves and be independent no matter where they are. So in 2013, when political turmoil happened in Egypt, and I decided to transfer back to Malaysia to continue my studies locally. So I believe that when we truly love something, we don't leave it behind. So carrying the essence of Yalla, I decided to start the first branch of our organization in Malaysia, and this is one of the projects that we've done. I've managed to do 6 mini projects and 1 camp, which is called Project Orchid, and enabling others to share the same kind of happiness and fulfillment that I felt, and enabling them to connect with people and just making them smile and have a good time is something that makes me very happy inside. And also, not everyone has the same access to education, to healthcare as we have. And I've come to realize how lucky we are to have the roof over our heads, to have the food on our table, and we hope to be able to provide them with a chance for healthcare and for education. I believe that each and every experience learned, each memory made, is meant to be shared. Martin Luther King once said, "If you want to change the world, pick up a pen and write." So I try to express my thoughts and emotions through writing articles and poetries in my blog. And in 2011, when I was in my first semester, I already had this dream of mine that I wanted to publish a book by the end of my journey, so that I can share all my experiences, poetries and articles with the world. So in late 2016, I self-published this book called Notes from the Heart, and in it consists of 3 chapters. The first is about my work with volunteerism, second is regarding poetry, and third is about all the articles that I express my thoughts on. So the first chapter is called Volunteer Vows, the gift of life is in giving, and I hope that through sharing with my literature, my poetry, and also thoughts that I'm giving, like today, I hope I can inspire people. I hope I can instill a change in everyone who listens or reads my words, so that we can create a better world. Because I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. It doesn't have to be a change in a big way. It just has to be something that we care about. It might be climate change, it might be education or healthcare, but each and every one of us has the power to make a change, because we can all be the change that we want to see in the world. I will end my talk with a spoken word poetry called Light of the Heart. Let the light take you to different places, Find your hope in strangers' faces. Be the light to someone's darkness. Lend a helping hand through all this madness. Learn to see the world through eyes of empathy, and it all begins with you and me, where no race, religion, nor caste divide. With our hearts as one, there is no appetite. Keep your spirits high and your faith even higher as we march on to a future that's brighter. In a world where we are told not to mind, open up our hearts and remember to be kind. Here I stand and I open up my hands to ask you to join me, women and men. Let our hearts guide us to where we need to be, to create a better world for you and me. That's all from me. Thank you.